Hey guys, Jeremy Breaks here again for another installment of Tuesday Talks with Jeremy. This week to talk to you about recovery, which I believe is the bedrock of our company, and I continue to believe is the most crucial or important part of anybody considering or continuing a workout regimen. It's what I start all of my athletes on, is what I would always suggest anyone considering bringing in a Progenex product into their workout. I would always tell them to start with recovery. Recovery in its basic form is going to be a whey protein hydrolysate. What that means is it's a pre-digested protein. We take an isolate and we enzymatically break it down through a process called hydrolyzation. You inject enzymes into that whey protein and it breaks down the protein's amino acid bonds, similar to what would happen in the stomach regardless, so that it skips the GI tract and digestive process and it goes straight to the bloodstream. After a workout, there's what was commonly referred to as an anabolic window. More accurately described, this is going to be protein synthesis. And there are two ways of thought with the protein synthesis that really determine how effective it is. One's going to be your leucine trigger. Leucine trigger is kind of what is thought to kickstart the muscle building or rebuilding process. And then if your protein lacks leucine, you will not be able to experience full protein synthesis, comparatively speaking, to another protein that is full of leucine, like all Progenex lines are. And then on the other end of that spectrum is going to be how much your body can absorb. Absorption is kind of another misconceived notion. Your body does absorb all that you give it. More accurately, again, would be how much protein does your body oxidize. The more your body can synthesize of whatever protein content you're taking in, the more it's going to be able to use and put towards muscle recovery. So more protein will get to the muscle tissue. Ours being a whey protein hydrolysate, it's going to be on the highest end of that oxidation compared to a whey protein concentrate, whey protein isolate. So it's going to maximize absorption rate and therefore muscle growth. So you don't come back in days later sore. So it prevents soreness. You can get in and out of the gym without issue. There are three types of whey protein. There's a whey protein concentrate, which is going to be anywhere from about 50% to 80%, usually on the lower end, because there's not really a reason to go to the higher end if you are working with a concentrate. There's a whey protein isolate. Isolate's going to go a little bit further in that filtration process. It's going to be almost completely void of lactose and fat. So about 90 to 95% of it will be protein. And then that's kind of the baseline for Progenex. We take that whey protein isolate, we push it through processes called micro and ultrafiltration to further rid it of dairy fats, lactose. So what we're going to start with is going to be something called a liquid sweet whey. We're going to micronize that protein into very small peptide sequences, di and tripeptide molecules of proteins. We're going to take the resulting product of that, and then we're going to enzymatically introduce stomach acids that would break down the protein so that you do not have to do that when you take it in post-workout. It skips through the GI tract, goes right through the intestinal wall, and straight into the bloodstream. This provides you with the most easily digestible protein in the world. That coupled with the absorption or the speed of which the protein is oxidized and able to get into the bloodstream will lead to better muscle recovery and therefore growth. That's really the name of the game as far as recovery goes for us. We treat it from a musculature standpoint versus a glucose standpoint, where anybody could take in sugar. We'd rather you have a readily oxidized protein to get into the muscle tissue so that you recover day in and day out. Recovery is going to be the most essential thing to the recovery process. It helps you go through a full protein synthesis, and the minute protein subfractions and fractions that we use are going to prove or have proven to result in better muscle recovery and therefore better growth. There are two ways you can filter a protein. There's a ion exchange and a microfiltration. Ion exchange is going to be a chemical process. You're going to inject it with hydrochloric acid and sodium hydroxide, during which this process you're going to break down the milk subfractions, kind of what the important parts of the way are through a process called ion exchange, or through an ion exchange column, resulting in an ion exchange isolate. We do not use that. We use a microfiltration process. This basically means it's going to go through a very high-tech, low-temperature ceramic filter. This allows for the production of a protein that retains all those milk subfractions, and it also results in a lower sodium, higher calcium protein, and therefore an all-around better protein. For more information on recovery and where you can buy, visit progenexusa.com, and I'll see you next week.